Okay, I am going to tell you a story that you may recognize, but it is very different in its original version. The Little Mermaid was written by Hans Christian Andersen in 1837. So it's a very old story. And I would like to tell you the actual story of the Little Mermaid. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Long ago, under the sea, lived a king who was widowed. His wife had passed away. And he had 3 sea princesses that were all mermaids. And they had beautiful voices, they were really good at singing. They ruled the underworld of the ocean with their father. And it was known that on their 15th birthday they could see above water because it was forbidden to do that as a mermaid. So when the first daughter turned 15, she went up to the surface and she saw humans, she saw ships and land. She was so excited she went down and told her other sisters. And every year when each one turned 15, they would go up and see new sights and sounds, and some of them saw icebergs, and some of them saw land, and some of them swam very close up to shore. But the youngest daughter, the Little Mermaid, was so excited for her 15th birthday that it finally came and she swam up into the middle of the ocean where she saw a ship. And inside the ship, when the waves went up, she could peer through the porthole and look inside, and she saw there was a huge celebration going on. And it was a party. And they were singing and dancing on legs. She had never seen a human with legs before, because they all had fins and tails under the water. And she noticed that this was a large birthday party for what seemed to be a young boy. And every time the waves went up, she would look and she would see this young boy. And she was so excited because she was seeing this for the first time. She didn't notice that a storm was brewing. And a huge storm came in, and the waves started getting huge and thrashing around. And she didn't really notice it because she lives underwater, and it didn't frighten her. But when the boat started disintegrating into the ocean, she realized that some of these men and women on the boat couldn't swim, and they started sinking. And she remembered, as a mermaid or a merman, you can live for 300 years, and when you die, you turn into sea foam. You're mortal. But humans, when they die, they go into the afterlife, and they live forever. And she wanted to do that. She wanted to live forever. But she didn't think that was really possible. So she felt she should do her best to help this man who was sinking, and this young boy that was sinking and falling into the ocean. So she swam down, she pulled him up, she dragged him to shore for safety, and she stayed near until the sun came up. But she didn't want to be spotted by any humans. So she went into the ocean and she watched as he slowly woke up, and people came to his aid. And she realized one of these people that came to his aid was wearing a big dress, and she was a young girl, and she watched from the ocean. She watched this young girl and all these other children and men and women come and get this young boy and take him in. So she swam back down to the castle where the Sea King lived and her sisters, and she told them everything that had happened. And they wondered who this young man was. So they asked their friends, and they found out this young man was a prince, Prince Philip. And so the Little Mermaid became so excited and engrossed in this young prince that she would go up to the shore every day and spy on him. And she would get as close as she could to the castle, see what he was doing in the castle. So much so that it became her routine. Every morning she would get up and she would go follow this prince, spy on him, even when he wasn't aware that she was there. And this became all of her thoughts, all of her wishes, all of her desires. She wanted to become a human. She wanted to be on land. She wanted to have that lifestyle. And she felt herself being drawn closer and closer to this man. And all that was happening at the king's palace and with her sisters seemed like nothing, not important anymore. And this bothered her for days and weeks and months, and finally she thought she was going to act on it. So she went to the sea witch. The sea witch was known to have magic, was known to deal with magical powers, but she had been warned by her father and her sisters to not go near the sea witch. So she did it secretly. She swam off into the sea witch's castle, and she explained to the sea witch what had happened. And her dream was to become a human and to have legs. And the sea witch said, well, I can make that happen. I've got magic. I can give you legs. And the Little Mermaid said, well, what do I have to give you? She said, well, what I'll need from you is your voice. Because I like to do magic, and your voice is so beautiful, and it has magical powers to it. The Little Mermaid thought, and it didn't take her very long. She said, yes, absolutely. And the Sea Witch said, one more thing. If you believe that this will happen, we're going to have a deal that the prince needs to fall in love with you. And if he doesn't fall in love with you, if he falls in love with someone else, you turn back into a mermaid and you are mine forever. In 300 years, you'll turn into sea foam. The mermaid thought about this. The Little Mermaid thought, there's no way that will happen. I'm going to live on land. When I pass away, my soul will live forever. I will become immortal. So she made the deal, and the Sea Witch gave her legs, and she ended up on shore. Eventually, the villagers found her on shore, and she became part of daily life in the village and then in the castle. And the prince finally met her, and he recognized her from somewhere, but because she couldn't speak, she couldn't explain where she was from. And so the prince and the Little Mermaid were spending a lot of time together, doing activities together, and they became quite close. And the Little Mermaid was quite smitten with the prince. But the prince still had duties. He had to go to faraway lands, and he had to do things that his father, the king, had told him to do. And weeks and months passed, and finally the prince went to a faraway town where he met another princess. And the princess happened to be the young girl that rescued him on the beach. And he said, you're the person I remember. You're the face I remember. I remember you. You're the one I've been looking for. And at once he asked her to marry him. Well, the Little Mermaid was sad. It was just devastated because she desperately wanted to be married to the prince. And news was announced that immediately the prince and this new princess would be married. And the Little Mermaid could barely cry. She was so sad. And so the day of the wedding came very quickly, and they decided to get married at night. They were getting married, walking down the aisle, and the Little Mermaid was standing there crying, thinking, if he doesn't love me, I'm going to turn back into a mermaid, belong to the Sea Witch, and then become sea foam. But I want to be human. I want my soul to live forever. So she was staring at the last few moments that she knew she'd be human before they got married at the end of the aisle. She looked around. She found a knife. She grabbed the knife. She thought, I can't let this happen. I can't let him be in love with another woman and spend his life with her. I want to be human forever. And she could only think of one way to solve that. She took one last look at the ocean and all of her sisters and her father and the castle all down below. And she looked up at the prince and his new, almost bride. She took the knife. She stabbed it into her heart. She died. But her soul lived.